So Brian, one of the things that makes the Hotronix presses different is the hat press we see here. Tell me about that hat press and tell me a little bit about how you like to put heat transfer on hats.
Okay, so we were approached by several of the different hat manufacturers with the huge popularity now of patches, emblems, etc., decorating hats. The challenge with existing designs led to what we call the dreaded hat crease. So this is generated by the platen design that's normally seen on hat presses. So you have basically stiff edges or defined edges on all four corners. So with a structured hat and compressed cotton there, when you do heat press those, it's going to press in this mark and virtually impossible to remove. So those hat manufacturers are like, we just can't tap into the patch market. We need a design that gets there. And the other thing is those patches are really thick. That takes a long time to get the heat all the way down. So what we did with our engineering team back at Hotronix is we developed this design here on the 360 IQ hat press. So number one is, instead of that hard edge on the back side of our platens, we now have a waterfall or a curved edge on the back side. So that now fits into the rounded contour of the hat. So now I don't have that crease mark going on there. And then number two, to combat that top heat only, we now have an independently controlled lower platen that's heated. So I can turn this on, I can turn it off, I can turn it high temp, low temp, etc., depending on what I'm going to decorate.
Absolutely.
So with those patches and emblems, typically if it's top heat only, you're probably firing anywhere from 340 to 360 degrees on top, and most hats on the front are polyester. So what happens with heat and polyester?
Not a good equation.
Exactly, you got that scorch mark. And then as well, because of the uneven pressure, now we were getting those patches and emblems not adhering on all the corners and all the way straight across. So again, that's what led us to this unique design of our lower platen. And then third, we actually elevated this. Typically, hat presses stand a lot lower, a lot closer to the tabletop. So if I'm trying to do side logos on a hat or back logos on a hat, typically I wouldn't have the room to accommodate the bill. So now with this higher extended design that I have here, I'm able to rotate the hat 360 degrees and decorate around all the hat.
Front, back, sides, and bill.
Absolutely, impressive. Absolutely. And you know, for your shops out there, typically when the hat is sold, very few shops are actually going to recommend or ask, do you want to add additional embellishments? In my area where I live, $5 to $7 is the going price for each additional location. So literally I could almost be doubling my end price, my selling price to my customer by offering additional logos, including I can also do on the underside of the hats. So this is our Fusion control panel that we saw on the Fusion IQ. Again, I've got all recipes that can be stored in there. Again, I can turn off the heat independently, higher heat, lower heat, depending on what I'm actually going to be pressing on the hat. So I'm going to actually do a little demo for you.
Can't wait to see it.
So basic structured hat, polyester front. So what I do is I fold out the sweatband. Now it's easiest for me, and again, this is me. Everybody has their own way of doing things. This works for me, but I like loading the hat from the side and twisting it on, as opposed to trying to get from the front to the back. Now the nice thing about the design of this, you can see how wide that opens up here. So even me, that burns knuckles on a clam press, keeps away from that here. But again, I'll load that on the side, twist it on, and then just engage the little hold down here. Now, in this, when I do that, I'm going to have a little bit of a gap underneath the hat. And again, this is my way of doing it. I will actually drop this heating element down and just kiss it lightly. I'm not locking it down. I do that from 6 to 8 seconds, because what that does is it warms up that structured cotton, that buck ram, and now I can actually tug the hat and I can lay it flat. So now instead of a gap like this underneath there, I am super minimal there, and now when I press, I don't get the pinching down on either side of that center seam. So let's load our design here. So right now, fashionable right is going off center, not down the center. So we're going to load this JDS logo on the side of the hat here, and I'm going to put that. Now I'm also going to put a cover sheet, and I'm going to use a flexible application pad. So let me tell you a little bit about that flexible application pad and why I use that on heat transfer vinyl. So typically, emblems and patches are a lot thicker. So what we include for those are these thicker white foam pads. So what these do is compress in those lower areas, giving us even pressure. So imagine a 3D embroidered puff logo. You have a lot of ups and downs there. These smash in. Now, with heat transfer vinyls, they're so thin, we don't need these. I can still use these as a cover sheet, but it takes me a lot longer when I'm going on my heat press.
Now I'm going to pause you for half a second. When this got done, it automatically came up. Tell us about that real fast.
Okay, so the Fusion IQ, or the 360 IQ hat press does have that automatic pop-up feature, where the standard Fusion flat press does not. So again, here, it's great. I could be staging my next hat in the process here, not having to worry. Now, one of the other design features that we built into this, sometimes when you close it, you might notice, oh my gosh, I don't have the right pressure. So typically, you'd have to manually pop it up. So that can lead to a little wear and tear on the magnet mechanism here. So what we've built into the press is a little release signal right there. So all we have to do, and that disengages my magnet. So now, again, I'm not manually popping that back up for us there.
Very cool.
So easy peel. And there we go. We got our JDS decorated hat.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Brian, for the moment to tell us a little bit more about the hat press we got here with Hotronix, and a little bit about how your material does work on these hats, and just a few little pro tips on how to work these presses and get the best results. We appreciate it.
Thank you.